Welcome to the 42nd episode of the Tertius Times podcast. Today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. I'm your host, Brian Wright, and today we will look at a news report about Chinese authorities cracking down on Christian education. For the interview segment, I continue to speak with Pastor Wally, who furthers his discussion on Christian persecution in the Islamic world. If you are or will be in the Washington, D.C. area on Wednesday, October 27th, you are invited to attend the China Forum 2021. As the website states, the goal of the China Forum is to help Americans understand the nature of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese Communist Party, and key issues in U.S.-China relations. Chinese authorities abducted 5 members and the director of an Abeka Academy, a U.S.-based Christian homeschool program in Jiangsu province along the eastern central coast on October 12th, according to police in Jiangsu target Christian schools with raids. October 18th, 2021, from International Christian Concern. A week later, their status is still not known. The kindergarten to high school Bible-based homeschool program was developed by Florida's Pensacola Christian College and is used around the world. A day later, a Christian school in the same province was also raided. 10 children and 6 adults were taken into custody. Their status is also unknown. Other Christian institutions in various parts of the country were also raided. Quote, "It is possible that the crackdown against Christian academies and homeschool facilities is a response to the recently announced administrative measures for religious institutions that came into effect on September 1st. This set of regulations further subject religious schools in China to submit to the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP's, control. Chinese authorities fear the very popular program violates Article 24 of the Chinese Constitution, which states, according to 5 Christians from Abeka Academy taken away by police October 14th, 2021 from China Aid, quote, "The state educates the people in patriotism, collectivism, internationalism, and communism, and in dialectical and historical materialism. It combats the decadent ideas of capitalism and feudalism and other decadent ideas," unquote. Pray for China, especially for the Christians who live there, that they may be protected and enabled to continue to educate themselves and their children in ways they deem appropriate and reflect their faith. Pray for Chinese leaders that they would become more accepting of Christianity and cease viewing it as an existential, dialectical, and historical threat, but simply a message of hope, joy, love, and reconciliation. Pray for everyone in China that they all be given the freedom to follow their conscience and engage unopposed in worship. And now let's rejoin the interview with Pastor Wally. Previously, he was telling us of his life and how he found his way led by God to Saudi Arabia and his life as a missionary in the heart of the Middle East, as well as his life and ministry after expulsion from the kingdom. Today, he continues his discussion, focusing on Islamic persecution of Christians.
And you have an opportunity every day if you live amongst them. So, and that's what God gave me. So I would always tell a person saying these things to me, I'll tell them, you know what? You're correct in your observation, but you have not really looked deep into the USA.
Right.
You try to live in America, I said, and you mix with the ordinary citizens, you will find out that most Americans are good people at heart, not because they are good people, but because most Americans believe in the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we all believe, I tell them, we all believe that Christ is the Son of God. That's what I tell them. And you know, this is the truth, Brian. Many of my Saudi Arabian friends have said the same thing to me, not in one setting, but always on a one-on-one setting, because they're careful not to be caught by others.
Right.
One-on-one settings, I've heard this from the mouth of a general, a colonel, you name it, even a royal family. You know what they tell me? We have so many expatriate workers, but you stand out from among them. And I'm like, why do you say I stand out? I'm just like one of them. I said, no, because you're different in the way You relate to people. You're different in your kind of thinking, in your reasonings. There is something different about you. And they say, and one of my best friends there told me this, and not only him, but several said, I have never heard you speak or curse. I'll speak a curse word. I've never heard you, talk filthy language. We've never seen you touch a cigarette, and we've never seen you drink alcoholic beverages. There is something about you that makes you stand out and different from the rest. Now, that is a very good launching point to present the gospel. And I tell them that the truth. I said, the only reason why you see me different is because I live by the standards of my Savior and my Lord. He lives inside of me by his Spirit, and I'm a child of God, and he has changed me and transformed me to be the person that I am. Otherwise, I would be just like any of these expatriate workers, talking like them, thinking like them, acting like them, behaving like them. But you see me as a different person because in our Christian faith, I tell them, when we say that Jesus is Lord, that means he calls the shots in my life. And because he calls the shots in my life, I've never seen my Lord speak a curse word. I've never seen him lie. I've never seen him deceive. I've never seen him smoke. I've never seen him commit adultery, that kind of thing. So that really comes across to them because it is spoken in simple, ordinary, day-to-day language,
Right.
and they understand it. And actually, Brian, that was the reason that God used for some of them to be born again. Because the gospel is shared not by showing the verses of the Bible, but by them initially observing and seeing the difference in the life of a Christian. And when they see that, they get provoked to ask and inquire. Yeah. That inquiry becomes your launching pad now to share the gospel. And they're easily captivated.
Right.
So there is persecution in the Muslim world because of the basic teachings of Muhammad. He tells in the Quran, he gives instructions, to kill the infidel. And an infidel is someone who is not a Muslim. They don't care if you're a Christian, a Buddhist, a Hindu, a communist, an unbeliever, atheist. They don't care. As long as you fall under the category of a non-Muslim, to them, you're an enemy, and they will kill you by any means. There'll come a time when we will kill you, we'll conquer you, we'll control you. Now, you talk about persecution in the Muslim world. That persecution has spread to many nations already.
Right.
Just notice in America, I have quite a few experiences with these people in America. They have sent out some fanatical people to our nation, which was one of the results was 911, as we saw it. That was only one of them. You know what they did? They told me this when I was back in their country. This was in the early 80s. Imagine, early 80s. You know what they told me? They said the same thing to my wife, because they know that my wife is also a Christian. They say that they have a plan to attack America and destroy America. I said, why? Why would you attack and destroy America? Because America is the head of Satan. They produce all pornography and all kinds of filthy materials, etc. So they're the source of this. That's why we're gonna destroy them and kill them. And I'm like, how are you gonna do that? America is a superpower, I tell them. And they said, we're not gonna do it that way, because we know they're strong. They have a military might.
Right.
We will get into America, and there are many ways that they can do it.
We will leave the interview there and pick it up again tomorrow, where Pastor Wally will continue to share his thoughts on Christian persecution in an Islamic context. As I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, if you are or will be in the Washington, D.C. area on Wednesday, October 27th, you are invited to attend the China Forum 2021. Again, as the website states, the goal of the China Forum is to help Americans understand the nature of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese Communist Party, and key issues in U.S.-China relations. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found the information and interview presented here useful and that it encouraged you to pray for these people and areas of concern, and perhaps even inspires you to take positive steps of involvement to alleviate the suffering of so many around the globe. Continue to pray for those mentioned today as you are led. Finally, pray with me that God's peace, eternally beyond our comprehension, guard the lives of all those who follow Christ and flow outward to bring that peace to all the world.